Summer's over. It's the first night of fall, and it feels like it. 57 degrees at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh as Jay Cutler leads the Chicago Bears into town to take on Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers on NBC's Sunday Night Football.
Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt University.
Matt Forte, Tulane.
Tony Fiammetta, Syracuse.
Brandon Marshall, wide receiver University.
Alshon Jeffrey, South Carolina.
Martellus Bennett, Texas A&M.
Jamon Bushrod, Towson University.
Matt Slauson, Nebraska.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Kyle Long, Oregon.
Jordan Mills, the Louisiana Tech University.
That offensive line featuring 2 rookies on the right side, 2 offseason acquisitions on the left side, and the only returner from last season will be the center, Garza. From the 20-yard line, Cutler right to the air on a straight drop back into the outside. Brandon Marshall, who said he's from Wide Receiver University, otherwise known as Central Florida, gain of 9. Jay Cutler, who came over in that trade about 4 years ago from Denver, the huge deal, and of course that electrified the fan base in Chicago. Game-winning touchdown drives in the fourth quarter in each of the first 2 games for Cutler, now in his 8th season in the league from Vanderbilt. 2nd and 1. Took a look at Jarvis Jones, number 95, the rookie linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they give it to Forte, and Chicago starts the game with a first down to the 33-yard line. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh defense.
Ziggy Hood, Missouri.
Steve McClendon, Troy University.
Brett Kiesel, Grable High School. Go Buffs.
Lamar Woodley, University of Michigan.
Keon Wilson, South Florida. Lawrence Timmons, Florida State.
Jarvis Jones, Georgia.
William Gay, Louisville.
Troy Polamalu, University of Southern California.
Ryan Clark, LSU.
IT Swagger University.
Big changes, of course. No more James Harrison. He's in Cincinnati. No Casey Hampton. He's out of the league right now. Cutler off the play fake, going deep and incomplete, intended for Alshon Jeffrey. It'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the open, but I think the headline for the Chicago Bears in this offense is the fact that Mark Trestman has only allowed Jay Cutler to be sacked 1 time in the first 2 games. Now, we've seen some games in which Cutler was sacked 9 times in the first half against the New York Giants. Pretty impressive, especially when you consider 2 rookie offensive linemen up there on the right-hand side. Kyle Long, the number 1 pick this year, and Jordan Mills, a 5th-round pick, getting it done.
Kyle Long, number 75, the son of the Hall of Famer Howie Long, and the brother of Chris of the Rams. Over the middle and complete to Jeffrey, and that's 3 yards short of the first down. Keon Wilson making the tackle for Pittsburgh. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Probably the most interesting part for me is the fact that Mark Trestman has gotten Jay Cutler early in the games to get rid of the football. He wants him to get settled. He wants to give this offensive line a chance. Don't let the defense, especially on the road, gain some momentum. Quick throws here early. Now Cutler in a bit of a rhythm.
From the shotgun, and he's using more and more shotgun the last 2 years. This year, about 2/3 of the passing plays come out of the gun. Meanwhile, Polamalu on a delayed blitz got there late. The pass is caught by Jeffrey on the outside. So Jeffrey's been targeted on 3 straight plays, 2 completions to him. Taylor makes the tackle. First down Bears.
Troy Polamalu, anytime you're working against rookie offensive linemen, watch him go back and then loop back around. I think they sort of forgot him for a second, and here he comes. But Cutler, because he got the ball out of his hands so quickly, it really didn't matter. Polamalu playing a lot in that linebacker kind of setting now without Larry Foote and his experience, who went down with an injury. They're bringing him up much more.
From the 48. Blitz is picked up. Pass is caught. And again, it's Jeffrey. So that's 4 straight passes in Jeffrey's direction. Close to a first down. The ball will be spotted at the 43-yard line, just short of it. Mike Tomlin. It's hard to believe. Already his 7th season as the coach of the Steelers, still only 41 years old, 3rd youngest coach in the league, has guided them to 2 Super Bowls and 1 win in the Super Bowl against Arizona after the 08 campaign.
Yeah, we asked him, how do you get out of this hole? And he said, first of all, you got to quit digging. You just keep digging, going the wrong way.
2nd and 1. Forte. And he threads his way for a first down. Lawrence Timmons makes the tackle at the 41-yard line. The Bears start the game with 3 successive first downs on this drive.
Well, here we go, working over here with the rookies on this side. Bring a little power around with Matt Slauson, number 68. Just enough to pick up that first down. But you can tell the confidence that Jay Cutler has coming out now. He just looks so comfortable standing back there in the pocket throwing the football.
Comes up with 3 tight ends and sends Marshall in motion on a first down play from the 41. Play action. Buys time, swings it to the outside. Forte, who's caught 15 balls in 2 games, 11 last week. Jarvis Jones makes the tackle. It's a gain of 4.
Kind of an interesting no call there. I thought Matt Slauson had his arm wrapped around, I believe it was Kiesel. Let's take a look right over here and see if we think we see a little something here. Starts to escape, and there's the arm wrap, and if they're going to let that one go, Jay Cutler is going to be just fine tonight.
Yes. 2nd down and 6 from the 37. Quick throw to the outside, and that's Jeffrey, and he should have a first down. Rolling forward, they'll spot the ball at the 31-yard line. So a very impressive opening drive, 9 plays, and they've gone 50 yards in 5 minutes.
Well, if you follow the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know that guy right there, Ike Taylor, is generally the guy that covers the #1 receiver for the other team. On this one, he's on Alshon Jeffries, and I guess why not? He's been getting the ball every time. But Cutler was telling us he was really disappointed. He thinks
youth camp in Mexico City, and on Tuesday, Roberto Garza was at Thomas Kelly High School in Chicago at the fitness center. As play resumes after the timeout, and Brandon Marshall gets taken down by Troy Polamalu behind the line of scrimmage.
This guy makes the flashiest plays of anybody in the National Football League. Watch him come all the way across, almost setting the hook for Jay Cutler. Yeah, he's open, he's open, he's open. He's not so open over there. The tape last week in the game against Cincinnati, I thought Troy Polamalu looked like he was about 24 years old, flying around, making plays just like that.
11th year in the league, and you can't miss him with that flowing mane. 2nd and 14. Polamalu this time backs off, and the pass is caught at the 30-yard line by Earl Bennett, who played with Cutler years ago at Vanderbilt. He's their #3 receiver. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Dick LeBeau, 55th consecutive season, 14 as a player, 41 as a coach, and last week, or a couple of weeks ago, turned 76.
And this is his signature part of the game. 3rd and long, you could get anything here. Here's Polamalu right in the middle of the field. Keep your eye on him.
Nobody with their hand on the ground in that Pittsburgh defense. Everybody's standing up. Now they put a hand down. One guy anyway. Polamalu is blitzing. They swing into the outside, and Cutler throws that one way out of bounds. Earl Bennett. But the conditions are good tonight, and so is Robbie Gould on that 47-yard. Before the start of the season, Downs it there. Let's take a look at the Steelers starters.
Ben Roethlisberger, Miami Redhawks.
Felix Jones, Arkansas.
Emmanuel Sanders, SMU.
Antonio Brown, Central Michigan. Jericho Cotchery, NC State.
Heath Miller, Virginia.
Mike Adams, The Ohio State University.
Ramon Foster, Tennessee.
Fernando Velasco, Georgia.
David DeCastro, Stanford.
Marcus Gilbert, University of Florida.
Of course, one guy missing would be Mike Wallace, who signed that big contract with the now undefeated after 3 games Miami Dolphins, who were 3-0 and knocked off Atlanta earlier. Fake toss, and then the handoff goes to Jones, and the one-time #1 draft choice of the Dallas Cowboys picks up 11 before he's tackled by the safety Chris Conte. 75 yards in 2 games, and they get 11 on the first play.
Well, the great thing about it was that you're going to see Felix Jones here just picking up running yardage. They went crazy. The crowd was like, they scored a touchdown on the play, a 10-yard gain, and that's big news around here.
First down at the 31-yard line.
Blue 30. Blue 30.
Ben's first pass, and the crowd loves that. Heath Miller, the salute to him from the crowd, hit by Anderson. So tore up his knee week 16 last year, rehab, didn't play obviously in preseason nor the first 2 weeks, and sees his first action since December right here.
Yeah, arguably the most significant guy on this offense right now, because they need help blocking in the running game, and he's certainly an asset there. But more than anything else, Ben Roethlisberger has a comfort level with Heath Miller that he really doesn't have with anybody else.
Security blanket, 2nd and 4. Pressure on. And Ben is going to lose the ball. It's loose at the 16-yard line. Pete Morelli comes in and signals that Chicago has it. DJ Williams came in, stripped it. Roethlisberger goes down, loses the ball. Here's takeaways, Lovie Smith, and it hasn't changed thus far in this regime. Ball at the 17-yard line. And Cutler under pressure, throws, and it's incomplete. And looking for a flag was Bennett. Doesn't get. Forte is the running back. Following his blocking, but Pittsburgh is able to clog up the middle. Can take it only to the 16-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Steve McClendon makes the tackle.
Well, once Dante Rosario, the tight end, went in motion, you could see Troy Polamalu going with him, and you're going to block, he's going to blitz, and there he is right in the backfield to make the play. He's looking pretty comfortable playing that linebacker position.
Third and 9 with the play clock down to 3. Cutler slings it over the middle. It's caught by Forte, and he has a first down at the 5-yard line. So he checks it down. Shamarko Thomas makes the tackle. Forte, who catches a lot of balls out of the backfield, and a big one here.
Well, Forte is going to check his protection first. Polamalu goes back, which allows Forte to come out on the route. Forte last week, I think, played the way that the Bears have always envisioned him playing. There's the right side of this offensive lineman, Kyle Long, battling as hard as he can. But when he is catching and rushing for approximately the same number of yards, Bears are tough to beat.
1st and goal from the 5. Forte into the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago. Roethlisberger getting sacked, fumbling, losing the ball, and the Bears go in quickly in a minute and a half, 17 yards to go up 9-0 going on 10 with the extra point.
And this is the old Pittsburgh Steelers power play right here. They threw it right back in their face with Matt Slauson coming around. So much for the rookies on the right side. Kyle Long, Jordan Mills getting it done over there.
Forte plowing right through William Gary. You have to go back to 1935. They started out with an 11-yard run, then Roethlisberger with the sack fumble, and now this drive begins from the 21, and Ben under pressure throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Heath Miller. Next year, running only 40% of the time, and now Jones, and there's nothing happening in the middle of the line. Let's take a look at that Chicago defense.
Corey Wooten, Northwestern.
Stephen Pye, Oregon State University.
Henry Mountain, Texas. Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
James Anderson, Virginia Tech. DJ Williams, the U. Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona.
Tim Jennings, Georgia.
Major Wright, the University of Florida.
Chris Conley, Cal.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Of course, one notable absence as you look at Briggs would be his longtime running mate Brian Urlacher, who felt that the Bears offered him a low ball contract in the offseason. He declined, and right now Brian is on television and not in the National Football League. 3rd down and 9, and Ben going deep, and reaching out for it is Emmanuel Sanders. He lays out but can't make the play. He got the new brain trust. Aaron Cromer is the offensive coordinator. Mel Tucker is the defensive coordinator, and Mark Trestman, longtime assistant in the NFL and then 5 years in Canada with Montreal, the head coach at the age of 57, his first head coaching job, and that's a huge hole for Forte, who regains his balance inside the 30, the 20, Down the sideline he goes, and he steps out of bounds just before he got to the goal line. To the 5-yard line he goes, first and goal. A gigantic hole which he exploits, and it's a 55-yard run for Forte.
Steelers trying to use their favorite blitz, this cross blitz, and the rookies pick it up beautifully. Come in here, coming around, and watch the two guys on the right side. Bang, bang, huge hole. Big game so far out of the rookies, Kyle Long and Jordan Mills. You knew LeBeau was going to test the young guys, see if they could handle all the different looks. So far, the answer is resounding yes to them out here. But at least thus far, these two guys right here have been spot on. I mean, that is a blitz that we see 10 times every time we watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play, and they could not have timed that out any more perfectly. Just 1-2. They said they spent all week this week with the noisemakers on and all that, even in walkthroughs, just going after blitz after blitz after blitz. So far, they got it.
Well, they've taken a lot of noise away from the crowd already. It's first and goal from the 5. Cutler slings it incomplete. Marshall does get the flag for interference. Ike Taylor.
Good play by Ike Taylor. Really tough covering a receiver that big.
Bring Michael Bush in, the short yardage man, and Bush is into the end zone for a Bears touchdown. One official signals touchdown. The other is coming in and saying he didn't get in. Your option is, do you want to challenge it, maybe win it, 50-50 or second and goal. He chooses not to, and it is out of the end zone. Martellus Bennett didn't get down inside. Well, nothing there, and now you got Bush going in, and Chicago signals touchdown, but what do the officials say?
So far, nothing. Defensive moment right here, and this crowd understands that.
Everybody standing, terrible towels in abundance. You got Bush, the back. Fiumetta is the fullback. Here comes Polamalu right up to the line, and you got Bush, and with that second surge, he's in for the touchdown. Boy, that was going to the dentist for Chicago. But they get it in with Bush, who they like to bring in at 6'1" and 245 pounds short yardage.
Well, this is some run by the 245 pounds Michael Bush. Timmons is going to get a dead shot on him here and just can't hold him out. I mean, Timmons is the best player, in my opinion, maybe other than Polamalu on this team. I thought we might see the Polamalu leap over the top and try and make a play, but he just didn't quite time it out perfectly. That ball almost came out, too.
In the owner's box, at least at the outset tonight, as Pittsburgh tries to get something started, and Jones picks up 6 yards. Jones out to the 26-yard line. Major Wright makes the stop.
Now, we talked about Rashard Mendenhall no longer being here. Already has more yards rushing than the Steelers as a team. But what he did was gave you a horizontal stretch on the defense. He could get to the edge. He could get outside. And I think Felix Jones, at the very least, gives them a bit of that element as well. Le'Veon Bell, who was supposed to be the lead back, their second-round draft pick this year, still out with an injured foot. But at least Felix Jones has given them a little bit of that pop to the outside.
At the 26 on 2nd and 4. Roethlisberger stepping up away from the pressure. It's Antonio Brown for a first down. Antonio gets run out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Major Wright on the blitz, and Ben got it away for a gain of 18 yards. Ben Roethlisberger, as a starting quarterback at home when they face NFC teams, 15-1, only lost 3 years ago to the Giants. Jonathan Dwyer now comes in as the running back. He was their leading rusher last year. Playing a spot roll now. The ball at the 44. Off the fake. And it's caught by Will Johnson, the fullback. And Johnson, it's all he can do to pick up some yardage out to the 49. Tackled there by Briggs as we tick down to the final half minute of the quarter.
I asked Todd Haley, give me a guy on this team that doesn't get any attention, that deserves it. Right out of his mouth, Will Johnson, their fullback. a guy they sort of discovered out looking at another player. He said he's a good, solid lead blocker and an excellent receiver coming out of the backfield. That was a good catch.
2nd and 5. And look out, and Ben goes down. DJ Williams comes blasting up the middle, the longtime Denver Bronco. First year with Chicago, one of the big acquisitions, and comes blasting through them as he comes to the line out of the shotgun here on 3rd down and 14. Four-man rush. This time Ben gets protection. Slings it deep downfield, and it's caught. Inbounds inside the 20-yard line by Antonio Brown. And they'll spot it at the 15-yard line. Exactly what the Steelers needed at this moment.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger at it again here. His pump fake is going to hold Chris Conte, the safety, and that's going to leave his wide receiver, Antonio Brown, wide open down the field. He can move these safeties with that pump fake. Conte turns his hips and barely sneaks that one in.
Longest play for the Steelers this season, 45 yards off a 3rd and 14. Felix Jones, the back. He gets the ball. Felix Jones will take it to the 6-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and short.
Already the Pittsburgh Steelers have made a change up front. They have Kelvin Beachum playing the right tackle position for Marcus Gilbert. They've had a lot of issues with the tackles so far early in this season.
Going no huddle here. Swinging to the outside, and it does not fool one Charles Tillman, who has seen it all in his 11 years in the league. Tackles Emmanuel Sanders for a loss of 1. Maybe 2. It'll be 3rd down. Let's call it 3rd and 4.
You got to come this way to catch that ball. I mean, you have nothing there. If you're gonna try and rub off and get a pick, then you got to use the pick guy.
So Gilbert on the sideline. It's 3rd down and 4 from the 9. Roethlisberger staying in there, and then it's dropped by Brown. Antonio Brown drops it at the 7. The ball spotted at the 7-yard line as Chicago begins this drive. Marshall goes in motion. And Forte already having a big night out to the 10-yard line.
Well, one of the big reasons the protection's been so good is Jay Cutler's getting rid of the football. Watch how quickly he's throwing this ball. Under 3 seconds every single time. Even if you have the greatest pass rushers in the world, they're not going to get there in 1.74 seconds. This is Kurt Warner-like, the way he's getting rid of the ball. And you can tell it's a little frustrating because if you want to blitz the way Pittsburgh wants to blitz and you don't have a chance to get there, it starts changing your thinking.
2nd and 8 from the 9. Off play action. Cutler has to step up, throws off balance to Forte. Well, he's a great safety valve to have, isn't he? To the 20-yard line, tackled by Timmons, 1st down.
Sometimes the most important part of a protection is what happens with the interior 3 right up here, because if they stay solid, you can run this guy by your quarterback. Watch Cutler step up and around and dump that thing down to Forte. Usually Forte gets a little piece of somebody before he gets out of the backfield and has really helped this protection.
Forte's already rushed for 70 and has 24 receiving yards tonight from the 19-yard line on 1st down. Play action again. This time coming through is Brett Kiesel. The bearded one with the sack.
Typically, the Pittsburgh Steelers and their defensive ends don't get a lot of sacks because they're playing run first. It's called a 2-gap technique. They're going to make sure they protect either side. But Kiesel has done such a great job over the years of recognizing when it's passed, when he can release. And there's a guy that has been so valuable to the Pittsburgh Steelers over the year. Watched him last week. I don't think he's lost a step.
2nd and 12. Cutler swings it to the outside. Brandon Marshall on the bubble screen to the 23-yard line. So Brandon Marshall, who began his career in Denver when Cutler was there, and then wound up with the Miami Dolphins for a couple of years, and then in a big acquisition last year, comes back to rejoin Jay and comes off a career season.
Yeah, he was a Steelers fan growing up. Said he could remember back in the days watching the Steelers and the Broncos in the AFC Championship game, and all of a sudden the next year got drafted by the Broncos. He had to change some of his paraphernalia.
Grew up here, has family here. He got on the team bus yesterday from the airport. His cousin's driving it. 3rd and 6 from the 23. And Cutler gets hit as he throws, and it's incomplete as Shamarko Thomas, the rookie from Syracuse, 4th-round draft choice, had a free shot at Jay. And 2 of the first families, and you think of the Maras in New York as well, would be grouped with them. From the 25-yard line, Jones is strung out to the outside for a loss of 2.
Well, one of the guys up front for the Pittsburgh Steelers, David DeCastro, has to sort of live with a tough moment this year. Marquise Pouncey, their all-star, brilliant center, and it was DeCastro who accidentally landed on the back of his knee and injured him, and you could tell it still bothers him. Todd Haley, their offensive coordinator, saying, I'm not sure he's gotten over it yet. He's a guy that takes things to heart, and basically they told him, you got to let that go. We have to go play here.
DeCastro is their top draft choice last year, played at Stanford. Roethlisberger dumps it down to Jones, 29-yard line. Well, it was opening day here against Tennessee, and here is what happened when Pouncey was lost for the season.
It's just so tough because you're always trying to go after the next guy, and he was trying to cut one of the Titans and got his own guy. And actually, it was friendly fire that got him last year that led to the injury. So many of those cut plays inside, you worry about the defensive linemen. Sometimes they get their own.
So they picked up Fernando Velasco, played at Tennessee for a couple of seasons and brought him back last week, and Roethlisberger said he did a really good job. And the pass is intercepted at the 37-yard line by Major Wright. And Wright is inside the 10-yard line, skirts the sideline, touchdown.
You ever seen a team like the Chicago Bears and their ability to score points on the defensive side? Watch Major Wright. He's just going to jump this thing. They back out of their blitz, and I think Ben felt comfortable thinking it was a zone, and all of a sudden Major Wright comes out of center field. I don't think he ever saw him. And then look at the blocking. The Bears immediately turn to offensive players when they get a turnover, and nobody sticks the thing in the end zone the way this football team does. They're all looking for blocks. There it is. It's incredible.
Well, they're just reviewing that. It's a score drive from the 25.
Blue 30. Blue 36.
Quick throw, and that's Brown making the catch. And he's tackled there by Charles Tillman. And they'll spot the ball just short of the first down, second down in inches.
You know what's interesting to me is that the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they did get their offense going last week against Cincinnati, it was in the hurry up. It was in the 2-minute offense. They tried to accelerate the pace a little bit. I just don't think the Steelers are comfortable enough with their tackles to believe they're going to block these defensive ends of the Bears.
2nd and 1, and look out, and blasting through this time is Briggs to take Dwyer down. So it's 2nd and inches. You figure you give it to the back. Shouldn't be much of a problem, and Briggs has other ideas. It's a loss of almost 5.
DeCastro pulls, and Briggs runs right by him. I mean, this has not been good. Lance Briggs has taken over the play calling duties for Brian Urlacher. He said, I was so addicted to Urlacher over the years. He would call out the formations and basically tell us all what the play was. And he said, now that's my job. And I think it's been good for him. I think he's more of a student of the game and has been making plays like that.
And Roethlisberger, look out from behind. He spins away. And then the pass is incomplete. He couldn't complete it, even though he got out of trouble first with Julius Peppers coming in and almost getting him down, but it's incomplete, and they punt again.
Well, you can tell Ben a little uncomfortable. Here comes Julius Peppers, who yet to have a sack so far, but you've got to believe the longer this game goes, that the score stays anywhere close to this, Peppers is going to get a few.
Devin Hester to run the punt back, and Mesko almost had it blocked, and then this contact made and a flag is thrown. There'll be a penalty here. Even though he may have gotten a piece of it, if he did, the penalty would be waved off. It's Anthony Walters who came 5-yard line halfway through the quarter. Dwyer flanking Roethlisberger out of the gun. Again, pressure is on. He gets away as he does so often. He's close to crossing the line. He hits Emmanuel Sanders downfield at the 35-yard line. So Ben moving forward, avoiding the sack and getting it off before he reached the line of scrimmage.
Wow, did that happen fast. Both these outside protectors, David Johnson on one side, Mike Adams on the other, and Ben in survival mode, a classic Ben Roethlisberger play. That was just incredible. He has done this so many times over the years, but you just thought it was over on that play. Incredible play.
And just did get it off before he crossed the line of scrimmage. The ball is at the 33-yard line. First down. And a quick toss out here is incomplete. Hits the ground, intended for Sanders. Second down. He got it away. Second down and 10. Here comes the blitz. Picked up. Then going deep, and it is caught in the end zone by Brown. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Again, Ben with that 28. Here's Bush. And the crowd back in it. You know what I was thinking? If Walters had actually deflected that and the officials didn't call it, and then you wanted to challenge it, and they could have won the challenge, they couldn't have challenged. They're out of timeouts, which means they're out of challenges.
Challenges, but a good first down play. You know, that the momentum starts to build. You can feel it a little bit when they get a good first down play, because now the playbook opens up for Dick LeBeau. Here comes the dime defense. Here comes the possibility of stunts. And here comes Polamalu.
Top of the screen. He's going to back off and the pass to the outside. Jeffrey drops it, puts it on the ground at the 33, but recovers it. William Gay was there. So there's LeBeau. Let's see what he has dialed up on the 3rd and 5.
On the blitz.
Cutler. He escapes. Buying time. Slings it to the near side, incomplete. Intended for Marshall, and there's Polamalu coming all the way across the field to cover Marshall on the play. 4th down. Out again. Felix Jones flanks Roethlisberger. And they give it to Jones. And Jones with a 9-yard burst off of the Castro block. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
You know, it's interesting. Ben Roethlisberger met with his offensive line this week. They've been taking a lot of heat here in town, and basically said, you guys don't understand how good you are. You're all high draft picks. You have to start playing like it. You were the best player in high school, the best player in college. You've got to, don't be afraid of getting penalties. If you've got to choke somebody out, in Ben's words, go for it out there. Show a little more dog on the field. And so he's maybe starting to get a little of that now.
2nd and 1. And with room to the outside, a burst by Dwyer. And Dwyer to the 47-yard line, where he runs over Conte, and again to Castro, helping to spring him. 25 yards.
Here's a #1 draft pick going out. Watch the Castro here. Gets out on the edge, uses his athleticism, makes a big block. And there goes Jonathan Dwyer, who's really had a big role now in this comeback. He is an excellent blocker. Let's see if it's this lower your head. That is an interesting no call there. When you size somebody up outside the tackle box, that could have easily been called.
Low downfield. Dwyer again, and this time he gets stuck. Julius Peppers is there to knock him down behind the line of scrimmage. Ticking down to 3 minutes remaining in the half.
Well, great players know how to play with their hands, and Julius Peppers, no exception. Watch him working on Mike Adams here. Just swats his hands away and makes the play in the backfield. You have to be able to block better than that on a run play.
2nd and 12. Stay on the ground. Gain of 3. Dwyer. It'll be 3rd and long. Pittsburgh has 1 time to go in the first half. And Roethlisberger hit as he throws, and the pass is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Marcus Wheaton, the rookie. Isaiah Fry came in on the blitz. Emery has done quite a job, and he's a man who has his mission all set out in front of him. The 2nd-year general manager for Chicago. This is Forte. Emery comes in. He's been a long-time scout in the scouting department. In fact, he was with Chicago a number of years ago, most recently with Kansas City, where he worked with Scott Pioli. Gets the job, comes in. Lovie Smith is the coach last year, but then he's looking for a coach, and it was very interesting. He knew what he wanted. He definitely wanted an offensive-minded coach. There was no question about it. And it came down to Trestman and Bruce Arians and Darrell Bevel, who were the 3 finalists. And it was the complete deal. He had Jay Cutler come in and talk with all 3 coaching candidates at the end before the hiring of Trestman. 2nd and 9. Forte, and then of course nostalgia takes a recess, and sentimentality in Chicago when you let Brian Urlacher go. He offered him a contract. Brian felt it was a low ball deal, but hey, everybody's got to move on.
I just find it really interesting. Have you ever heard of a situation where the quarterback is brought in to interview the potential head coach?
It's a good idea. If you're looking for an offensive guy, when we heard about it, Cutler told us about it. That's an interesting idea.
Well, we've seen a few sideline scenes where Jay wasn't too happy. Maybe they just wanted to make sure he was happy and comfortable. And, when they involved him, the relationship has been good from the start. And obviously the way they've started the season is probably even better.
Nothing wrong with thinking outside the box from time to time. Here goes Forte. Without a timeout, Chicago will just run the clock down and go into the locker room. 16 for 142 yards. Felix Jones is the running back. Play action. Peppers coming from behind, and then a little shovel to Felix Jones. So again, Ben, who is the master at escaping, like Charles Bronson in The Great Escape. Little 7-yard shovel. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
Well, Julius Peppers over here against Mike Adams, and Adams really having a difficult time just slowing him down, but stay with him through the entirety of that play. And when Ben steps up, just gives him a chance. It's so hard. Most quarterbacks, you get an arm on them and they tend to go down. Ben, that's not quite enough.
Nothing like cultural references from 40 years ago, but what the heck. Felix Jones losing the ball, and Chicago thinks they have it, and they do. So Michelle talked about getting the momentum back, and that gets the momentum.
Make them show their blitzes, really change the momentum back and forth.
Forte. 26-yard line. Gain of a couple.
Well, here's the area in which there is no such thing as that helmet-to-helmet sort of rule by a running back or a tackler in that dark shaded area right there. Just outside that area, but I don't think there was any sort of helmet-to-helmet shot. Looks like he put his helmet right on his shoulder there.
Agreed. And that's one of the problems that Jones had in Dallas, and he hit a huge fumble in Sunday night opener a couple of years ago. Meanwhile, you got Matt Forte flanked wide to the right. Cutler throwing to his left. It's complete. It's Jeffrey. He gets forced out of bounds at just about the 1st down marker for Alshon Jeffrey tonight. That's 6 catches for 43 yards.
The best thing that could have happened to this offense tonight, well, besides being up over the Pittsburgh Steelers, is the fact that Alshon Jeffrey has become a big factor in this game. They've got Ike Taylor guarding him over there. So now Brandon Marshall, Martellus Bennett, Matt Forte, who have really been carrying the load. Now defensively, you're not exactly who you have to protect out there.
On both guys up to the same side here on a 1st and 10. 2 big receivers. And a little shovel from Cutler, and that is caught by Martellus Bennett. And Bennett fights his way to the 11-yard line, breaking tackles along the way. Bennett, a former Cowboy and a former Giant, comes over in the offseason. Tomlin is beside himself.
Well, you've got Martellus Bennett right here. He is protection first. That is what they're going to do with him. But as they get closer to the red zone, we've already seen this season, more and more they're going to let him out because he has this sort of athleticism. Here's a big former basketball player. We've told the story, you know, Antonio Gates, those kinds of guys. But they have the kind of athleticism. You just flip the ball like that, all of a sudden you're second and short.
Caught the game-winning touchdown in the waning seconds last week at Soldier Field. Now they give it to Forte. Just short of the 10. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
You know, I really came into this game tonight feeling like the whole story was going to be how those rookies held up on the right side for the Chicago Bears. On the road for the first time, trying to figure this whole thing out. Kyle Long, really an amazing story. How far he's come to make it to the National Football League. Started his career as a pitcher at FSU, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and left-handed.
Bush is in. Polamalu was almost offside. They give it to the short yardage back, and this is Bush. And he's going to be very close. Jarvis Jones is there. The head linesman comes in. He's going to spot the ball short. Grin for Cutler as if to say to the defensive line, hey, I knew you knew. Here's Robbie Gould, a 32-yard attempt, and that is good. So that does make it a 3. Start with Jonathan Dwyer flanking Roethlisberger on 1st down. And Dwyer stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Isaiah Fry comes in from his corner spot to stop him for no gain. 2nd and 10.
I'll tell you, I give Mel Tucker, the new defensive coordinator of the Bears, a lot of credit. He came over to this defense, and they had an established system. They were playing well, and why change it? So instead of making all the players learn a new language that he spoke, he learned their language and allowed them to pick up and running right from the first day of camp. And I think it really made a difference for the start of this season that they didn't have to learn that new system.
And much appreciated by the veterans. That shoulder shake and then open to catch the pass and take it into Chicago territory is David Johnson, the backup fullback. So Roethlisberger with that shoulder shake and pump, and then he finds the open man for a gain of 32 yards.
Well, there's just nobody that does it like this. Here you see David Johnson just going up the seam here, and Brian Urlacher maybe in his day could get a little bit deeper than Lance Briggs did there, but when Ben Roethlisberger starts going back and forth and looking around and pump faking, tough to play defense.
From the 48 on 1st down. And Ben has it tipped and incomplete. Try to get it over the outstretched arm of Corey Wooten, the 4th-year guy from Northwestern. Will be 2nd and 10.
Well, Corey Wooten's come in, and he's sort of splitting time now with Shea McClellan on the other side. But this is good protection. You know, really, you can't ask any more from your offensive line than this. Mike Adams going to get a little help from Jonathan Dwyer on the outside, but those are the kind of plays that seem to be going against Pittsburgh tonight. But they do have a little momentum on this drive and plenty of time. You know, they just need another play.
Sanders gets a block off the bubble screen and takes it to the 38-yard line. Jericho Cotchery with a good block there, and they're going to spot it. Makes his first appearance in a running back spot. Comes up on in the slot to the left. And Roethlisberger is going to keep it himself, and with a big body is able to angle his way for a 1st down. As the running back gets it, swings to the outside, breaks away from a tackle, and is close to a 1st down. Tillman came up, couldn't wrap him up, and Dwyer is close to the 1st down. So Jonathan Dwyer, 4th-year guy out of Georgia Tech, and again, you go back to what they did in the draft, drafting Le'Veon Bell. He will eventually, they hope, be their key guy, and their key guy for a lot of years. And they had Redmond, they had Felix Jones, and Dwyer was kind of a lost guy, even though he led the team in rushing last season.
He actually got cut this year, and they brought him back. That was a heck of a run right there.
Yeah. First down of the 26. He gets it again for a yard and a half. Wooten making the tackle halfway through the third quarter. There is Bell, the 6'1", 244-pound rookie from Michigan State, working through a foot injury. I guess it's possible he could play in London next week. Then they have a bye week, and he should definitely be ready by the week after that.
Unless Jonathan Dwyer keeps running like this. He's really had a nice game. Pass protection-wise, this team stepped up a notch when he came in the game.
2nd and 8. Fake toss to the left, but right there to make the play. That's D.J. Williams.
Dwyer with the ball.
Made 2 big plays early in the game. The longtime Bronco coming to Chicago now, setting up a 3rd and 9.
You know, they have a lot of veteran guys now playing linebacker here. You know, they lose Urlacher on the process, but they pick up James Anderson, who was in Carolina, D.J. Williams, who was really suspended for much of the season a year ago with the Denver Broncos, and they thought it would take him a little time to get up to speed. I would say it took him 3 games to get up to speed. He's been sharp tonight.
3rd and 9. Good protection, and the pass is caught. Heath Miller, who's been in and out tonight, been working him back into the lineup slowly after the knee surgery in the offseason. Really important before he hired Trustman that he had the head coaching experience and not just as an assistant. As Cutler throws, and the pass here is incomplete, intended for Bennett. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, we knew that he was going to get the math right on the score to kick the field goal because he was a bond trader for a couple of years, right, when he was out of football.
He was out of football. He goes and he's running bond portfolios, an investment company, wearing a coat and tie. He does that for 3 years. And his wife says, you got to get back to football. And she says, I love football more than you do. So George Seifert calls him after Mike Shanahan leaves to go to Denver. Mike had been the offensive coordinator in '94 in San Francisco, and that gets Trustman back into the game. And the pass is caught up at the 25-yard line by Alshon Jeffrey, tackled there by William Gay. It helps to know interest rates when you're working time management at the end of games.
Yeah, and how to save your money if you're a coach, because that's not a lifetime employment contract.
No. He should have been doing moving van commercials. 3rd and 2.
Don't lose track of Troy Polamalu.
And he's hit as he throws, and that pass is incomplete, but there's a flag in the secondary.
No question about the call. A little slant and go on the outside. And he's going to initiate the contact after 5 yards, so that obviously a good call and a painful penalty against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Forte, as Jason Worlds comes around the corner, gets caught up in that traffic.
So Bush comes into the game at running back, and that's Brandon Marshall. Did a very nice job bottling him up tonight. Brandon Marshall has caught 4 passes for a total of 11 yards.
Yeah, Ike Taylor said he wanted to play against Brandon Marshall. So this guy's like Marshawn Lynch of the Seattle Seahawks. He's in beast mode all the time. He's just a huge guy, and with the rules as they are now about contacting the receivers, he said these big receivers that the Bears have, they don't even have to get open. They can just get body position on you, and he certainly is not afraid of a little contact down the field.
Crowd still booing the official's call.
That's illegal motion.
Yep. And Cutler gets slammed to the ground. Lamar Woodley comes in. Cutler trying to escape, and then the pass is incomplete, intended for Bush coming out of the backfield, covered by Worlds, and so a big stop. Pittsburgh after the penalty, starting from the 30-yard line. Roethlisberger stepping up in the pocket, and the open man is Miller. Heath Miller to the 47 of the Bears.
So many times getting open in the National Football League is not about beating a man. It's about understanding zone coverages. When you see Heath Miller there, once he got into that little space, slows down. Ben was able to look right there. You talk to some of the Chicago Bear defenders, and they said, listen, the most important thing that Heath Miller does for Ben Roethlisberger is when he's in trouble, 83 is the first place he's looking.
That was a gain of 22. Roethlisberger wide open after the pump fake. Jericho Cotchery. And he's out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Major Wright covering on the play. That's a gain of 26.
Everybody wants to make a big hit when they see this quick screen coming out there. That time, basically, two guys open down the field. It's the responsibility of that guy on the outside generally to block, but Ben is so effective with these pump fakes. He's been moving defensive backs all over the field tonight.
Steelers now at the 21-yard line. 2 minutes to go in the third.
Black five! Black five!
Blitz on. And a one-handed grab is good for the touchdown. Antonio Brown. Back we go to the touchdown.
Old school Pittsburgh Steelers here. This used to be Hines Ward in short motion. 3 on this side. When they go to a single safety here, that means 1-on-1. It used to be Mike Wallace out there. Now it's Antonio Brown, and he's doing the same thing Mike Wallace used to do. Only that catch was as good as anything I have seen in a big moment. That is fantastic. Barely, the toe barely beats the knee down. Good call by the officials. Game on.
Perfect call. Forte is back in the game. Crowd in full voice right now, and Cutler stepping away, dumps it to Forte, but he'll get tackled immediately at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. Averaging less than 4 yards per pass. 17 of 25 for 98 yards. Big hole for Forte, who runs over people, including William Gay, who he ran over earlier. Takes it to the 30. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Troy Fiumetta right here is going to seal this thing off. Roberto Garza inside, able to handle the nose tackle. Fiumetta helped a bit with the nose and then got up on the next level, but 3rd and 1 is huge right now.
33 seconds. 3rd and 1. Play action for Cutler. And he's going to go deep into double coverage intended for Marshall and broken up. Clark and Taylor were there. So 4th.
Set! Blue 30!
The running back is Dwyer. And it'll be dumped off and incomplete. Intended for David. Quarter. Blitz coming. Picked up. And that opens it up for David Johnson. His 2nd big reception. Takes it to the 40, and that's the way the 3rd quarter climaxes. And on a draw, Dwyer. Tackled by Anderson.
Well, the pump fake's becoming a bigger and bigger factor now as this game goes along. Ben Roethlisberger early on really moved the safety. Chris Conte out of the middle of the field. Ends up going deep to Antonio Brown for a big play there. But it hasn't just been that. You'll see. I don't know how he holds on to some of these. His hand is just huge. But when he does it, you see the entire defense move. And the more protection he gets, the more he can use that technique.
30.
2nd and 9. And Roethlisberger over the middle, and That's caught inside the 40-yard line by Antonio Brown, who's really having a monster night right now. Antonio Brown, for a gain of 21, has now gained 147 yards through the air.
Antonio Brown's brilliant, but the reason he's getting it off, this guy right here, Jonathan Dwyer's had a huge impact on this game. That's a tough block. Lance Briggs comes free, gets just enough of him to give Ben time to get the thing down the field to Antonio Brown.
And Roethlisberger goes down again with his face in the turf. Dwyer tries to come back the other way and picks up a couple of yards after the initial contact, gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
Quarterbacks love guys like Jonathan Dwyer.
Well, Tillman comes out of the game. He went to the sideline. Zach Bowman comes in. Ben is going to keep it and then lose it, and then recover it himself as he gets to the 30-yard line.
You know, that would have definitely been a fumble because he was past the line of scrimmage anyway.
Well, we saw Tillman come out, and he was. Go back and take a look at what happened here.
And he just tried to step around Julius Peppers. Didn't want to step on somebody's foot and put his knee in a. Isaiah Fry on the slot against Antonio Brown.
And that's caught, and can he get the first down as Cotchery spins and may have gotten it with that second effort and does. So Cotchery was stopped a little short of the first down and then was able to spin around and move. Dwyer is the back. He flares out. And it's thrown behind Brown. So underneath Antonio Brown, it's incomplete. Here's Michelle.
Well, Henry Melton with that left knee, he is out for the rest of the night. Obviously, they've taken him back. Now, for Charles Tillman,
he needs some time. 2nd and 10. And Dwyer can't escape. Stopped at the 26-yard line, and that's going to make it 3rd down and 10.
I still think they have some possibilities. The Bears are doing a nice job of disguising their coverage and making it look like they're double teaming Antonio Brown down here at the bottom, but they really aren't. They are going back to that single safety look. So if they want another one-on-one shot, unless they adjust from here, they've got it to Brown.
Blitz, and Roethlisberger jostled as he throws, and the pass is incomplete. That was Lance Briggs blitzing on the play. It'll be 4th down.
That time Lance Briggs able to take advantage of Jonathan Dwyer to get just enough, because that was going to be a first down to Antonio Brown. Got exactly what we thought they were going to get, and just enough of the elbow.
And then Pittsburgh was able to capitalize and get a touchdown. Here's Forte. I want to correct one thing. I think when I did the promo before Atlanta, Miami,
numbers are really one-sided in Pittsburgh's favor now.
And the possession is now almost dead even, and Matt Forte will go nowhere. Just Cutler gonna run, and he's going to get the first down and then bangs in to the defender Robert Golden. But Golden can't stop him until Cutler rushes for 12 yards to move the change.
There they come off this side with the blitz, and Cutler steps up and through. And I'm going to tell you what, you want to get respect as a quarterback in a situation like this. You lower your shoulder, you take a shot. Everybody's talking about quarterbacks going out of bounds, and try and maintain your health. In that situation, you go get it, and that's what Jay Cutler did.
And lower your throwing shoulder as well. The ball at the 39-yard line. And Forte will be taken down, and that's William Gay.
We got 29.
Cutler dumps it off into traffic, and the pass is incomplete. Third and 12. Polamalu comes in on the blitz. It's picked up deep downfield, turning around at the 22-yard line. Brandon Marshall to make the catch. A huge play. Got positioned on Ike Taylor to the outside off his back shoulder. And Marshall needs a little time here.
Yeah, here's old beast mode right out there. Ike Taylor knew what he was getting into. Pretty solid coverage, but he just couldn't get his head around. Perfect back shoulder throw, rebound position. Brandon Marshall when they needed it most.
41 yards. He comes out for the moment. The pass to the outside is caught by Martellus Bennett, and he'll be taken out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
The one thing we've seen out of the Chicago Bears, Martellus Bennett does a lot of blocking when they're in the middle of the field. They get down to the red zone like he did last week when he made the game-changing catch at the end to win that one, like he did against Cincinnati in the opener, a brilliant catch in the back of the end zone. This guy has made a huge difference for the Chicago Bears in the red zone.
Marshall back in the game until that catch. He caught 4 for 11 yards. And then 41 on the third and long. Going to draw inside. Matt Forte going next to nowhere.
Down there at the NFL kind of level in that defense.
Very big 3rd and 5. Steelers trying to limit them to a field goal to keep it as a one-possession game. And Cutler throwing to the corner, and it is out of bounds for Earl Bennett. Earl Bennett not in bounds as he hauls it in. And in comes the field goal unit.
Looks like he got at least 1 foot.
After reviewing the play, the receiver had control and 2 feet down. It is a touchdown.
So the old Vanderbilt connection. Cutler to Bennett. He beats Shamarko Thomas. Trestman wins the challenge. And it's a 2-possession game again.
This may be the best wide receiver play I've seen in one of our Sunday night games since I've come on here. We have seen unbelievable catches, footwork, one-handed. It's been brilliant. It's been absolutely a joy to watch.
Cutler, who was under 100 yards until then, 61 yards on the drive. All of those plays on that last drive coming on 3rd down. And now Roethlisberger throws, and it's caught, and it's the running back Dwyer. That's a gain of 9 to the 34-yard line. Collins hit Roethlisberger that time. Collins taking Melton's place.
He came in there and got a big-time shot on Roethlisberger. Only a handful of quarterbacks getting up from that one.
And not only getting up, but running a no huddle here as they go hurry up and pick up the first down with Jonathan Dwyer taking the ball for a gain of 2.
Nate Collins, a little spin move on DeCastro. You're not allowed to plant your full body weight on him, but Ben Roethlisberger almost as big as Nate Collins.
Inside 5 minutes. He's hit again as he throws, but this time gets it away, and it's into Chicago territory. Caught by Antonio Brown. So another shot taken. Stephen Paya that time hitting Roethlisberger, but he picks up 16 yards.
Lance Briggs reacts up to the back underneath, and it was a mistake. When he did it, allowed Roethlisberger to get it just over his head. Watch here. You're going to see Dwyer come out. He's going to take 2 steps up, and that was just enough for Roethlisberger to get it in over his head.
163 receiving yards tonight for Brown on 7 catches. And Roethlisberger in trouble, and the ball comes loose again. Peppers comes up with it. Julius Peppers with an escort to the end zone. Touchdown.
It's harder to outscore the Bears defense than it is their offense.
4 turnovers. Lance Briggs forcing the fumble. And Peppers goes in for the touchdown.
There you go, right up the gut. This time I think it's Isaac Redmond who tried to pick him up. couldn't get enough of him. Been a little loose with the ball again. And here you go. So 2 touchdowns on the defensive side is going to end up being the difference in this ball game.
42-yard return. 4 turnovers now for Pittsburgh. They've been killers. And for Peppers, he had 3 touchdowns as a Carolina Panther, and that's his first as a Chicago Bear.
And the good news is, if you're looking for it, the Steelers offensively, despite the mistakes, look better tonight than they have.
And Roethlisberger throws, and Cotchery makes the catch, and it's a gain of 23 out to the 43-yard line. The AFC North, you've got Cincinnati now 2-1 with their win over Green Bay today. Baltimore seems to have gotten it together. They beat the Texans, so they'll be 2-1. And the Steelers on the verge of dropping to 0-3. To the 48, David Paulson makes the catch. Here's Michelle.
Well, an update on Charles Tillman. The Bears have told me that if they needed him to come back into this game, he could. But he's being bothered by a groin right now. He's been stretching it out, and because of the lead, they're going to let him rest the rest of the night.
Wise choice. 2nd and 4. Zach Bowman is in there. Meanwhile, there goes Ben going down again, but he gets the pass away to Emmanuel Sanders on a 2nd and 4. Corey Wooten got to the quarterback that time. And you got a flag thrown as Jonathan Dwyer makes from the 48. And Roethlisberger fires deep downfield. That's caught. That's Brown to the 26-yard line. And for Brown, a total now of 8 catches for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's good for 27.
You're talking about filling in the role of Mike Wallace. He was not a happy camper on the sideline.
From the 25. The Steelers down by 17, and that is not caught. Leaping for it, Emmanuel Sanders, 2nd and 10.
You know, I can't get the Jay Cutler play out of my head, though. Remember the playoff game a few years back where people questioned whether or not he could have come back in the game or not, and questioned his toughness and all that? This is a different Jay Cutler on a lot of levels out here. He's becoming the team leader and just takes out the Steelers safety. Really, when the game was on the line, Robert Golden did not expect that kind of shot.
2nd and 10. And Roethlisberger throwing, and it's incomplete. Chris Conti coming over to Brown and getting there simultaneously with the ball to bust it up. It's 3rd down. Roethlisberger dancing away. Buying time, pass incomplete. Paulson, the intended receiver. Lance Briggs was there, and that's going to make it 4th and 10. Last 63, and he loses this 36 losses. And here is Brown coming close to a 200-yard night, taking it to the 19, but on a 4th and 10 ain't good enough. And Chicago can pretty much run it out, even though Pittsburgh can stop the clock twice, and you're going to have the stoppage at the 2-minute warning. Michael Bush is the back. If he gets it, he'll take it to the 21-yard line. Tillman and Peppers going over some stuff. Take a further look at this one and what's happening around the league. And Chris and I will look ahead to New England at Atlanta. 2nd down and 8 now for Chicago. We'll give the ball to Bush to the 24-yard line. I looked at this guy. I looked at him closely, and I thought he would be the best fit. But it is odd, Chris, when you see a guy who, you know, all of a sudden, hey, here's the new hot young assistant coach, and then whatever happened to him, and then he becomes the coach of the Chicago Bears at age 57.
But to some extent, doesn't he feel like a good fit with Jay Cutler? Because Jay Cutler, you know, he's an emotional guy, and we've seen everything before, and Trestman is a bond trader. You know, he just looks
until they get there on Sunday and play the game and come back home. And of course, on the other side of it is a bye week. And Roethlisberger fires, and that's going to be picked off. And Chris Conte, who almost had a pick earlier, and then you've got a flag coming in because you saw what Brown did at the end of that play. And you know what that's going to be.
This was just an airmail shot from Roethlisberger. Really had no chance from the beginning. The receiver turned out. I think Ben thought he was going down the seam, and a gift for Chris Conte. He plays golf with him. Make sure he keeps his head low.
Well, that's going to do it. The Bears, who took a huge early lead, that appeared to be in jeopardy. And then, but turnovers do it at the end, and it wraps it up. And it was a killer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who head to England. Merry old England. But not so merry for the Pittsburgh Steelers, nor for the Minnesota Vikings, who they'll face next week. Coming up next, it's the Wendy's post-game report after these words from your local station.